This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Hello everybody, welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Green Valley, Nebraska. But before that, this video is brought to you by Scooter's Workbench and Jimmy Romanowski. Thank you for being farm barons. Green Valley, Nebraska is a 4X map and can be found over at djmoddings.itch.io page. There will be a link to that down in the description below. For both of those reasons, this map is going to be available for PC players only. Now, let me read you a little bit of the description about the map. Welcome to Green Valley, Nebraska. This is a fictional 4X map based on the northwest region of Nebraska. This map includes corn dryers that are built into the map that will take corn and dry it with the use of propane. Custom harvestore silos are built into the map to ferment chaff and grass into silage. There is whiskey production, beer production, wine production, ethanol, potato chip production, soy milk, pasta, and oatmeal production, all available on the map. The map has a custom built-in growth calendar. Corn and soybeans can be planted in the spring and harvested in the winter. The map has additional ground textures that can be used in paint mode. Custom lighting has been added, so there will be an orange sunrise and sunset and darker nights. The map has 39 arable fields ranging from medium to large and a few meadows. Custom grain bins have been added to the map that will require the use of augers to fill. Nebraska license plates have been added also. 4 custom farm areas are included on the map with 7 dairy barns and 2 pig areas. Anhydrous ammonia has been added as an additional fill type. Now, this is specifically anhydrous ammonia as the fill type. This just isn't an area that looks like anhydrous, that is really just giving you liquid fertilizer. So you will need to use equipment that is configured to work with the anhydrous ammonia fill type. There are 2 fire stations added to the map that you can go into and explore. All farms have water and fuel triggers. A BGA has been added to the map. There are 21 sell points, including a variety for each product. There is a case dealership, a bulk feed shop for buying seed, lime, herbicide, fertilizer, anhydrous, and propane. Added sell points for chaff for those that do not want to mess with silage. Multi-terrain angles have been increased to 32 terrain angles, and the map is error-free. With that, there is also a required mod that I will also link down in the description below. It is listed on DJ's itch.io page, but I'm going to go ahead and link that there also, which includes several trailer edits of base game trailers to work with the additional field types. So let's go ahead and load on in. We are going to use the additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, and field calculator. Those are all mods that we use on all map videos. And then we have the trailer pack by DJ Modding, and of course the map itself selected. Let's go ahead and pull up the log. Now, as the map loads up, you will see some warning messages pop up here and there. We are going to explain most of those warning messages after the map loads on in, so don't worry about it too terrible much. If you do load this map up on Farm Manager or start from scratch, the map will look exactly how it does here, except you will not own any land, nor will you have any starting machinery. As I said, don't let all those warnings worry you because, well, there is a little trick up DJ Modding sleeve, and we will explain most of these warnings right about now. So let's go ahead and take a look at these warnings. So the first few warnings that we're going to get to are missing clear areas for a multi silo. Don't worry about that. You can't place it. So the fact that it is missing clear areas really isn't going to mean much. We move up here to the next section, which relates to the large and small fermenting silos. Basically, what DJ has done is he has added fill types for straw, hay, and forage to all of the fermenting silos. The warning you're getting here is basically saying Hey, you have not defined straw as a production input or output. What's up with that? That's a warning. You haven't done that, but it's not intended. It's intended so that you can store straw in a fermenting silo if you wish. It's not going to take straw and do anything with it other than store it. We see the same warnings for the large silo. We see the same warnings for the grain dryers, except with respect to the grain dryers, we can also store wheat, barley, oat, canola, sorghum, sunflowers, and soybeans in our corn dryers. So the corn dryer isn't just to dump corn in and propane and then get dry corn out. We can also use it as grain storage. So that repeats multiple times because there are 4 grain dryers on this particular map. Missing AI update areas. I honestly don't know what that means. I suspect it might have something to do with using AI to drive around the map. I personally don't use AI for any of that stuff, so I cannot help you out as to what that is going to cause as far as gameplays. But overall, this map has played extremely well in the time that I have been able to play on the map. I was granted with the great privilege of having early access to this map about a week before its release. So here we are, loaded in at the Case IH dealership. Let's go ahead and take a look at the map. Remember, this is a 4X map, so these fields are much, much bigger than they may initially appear. Something else that I like about how this PDA has been set up, over here on the left side, we can see all of DJ Modding's FS19 maps. And I can only suspect that as he releases more maps in FS22, this list will change over to reflect his FS22 maps. On the right side, we have a listing of credits with various icons and names of modders and mappers that he wishes to give credits to. And then down at the bottom, he has a list of content creators. And of course, we're only really concerned in one particular content creator that is located right there. But overall, let's take a look at the base map here. If we take a look at the lands area, you'll see on new farmer mode, we start out by owning Green Valley Ranch, as well as fields 8 and 9. And boy, these are some big fields. Field 8, for example, is 79.59 acres in size, $605,000. Field 9 is 80 acres in size, $646,000. And I had the crazy, crazy idea of actually harvesting Field 5, which is 157 acres in size, $1.2 million for a corn harvest. And boy, that did take forever. There are 3 other farms, sorry, available on this map. There is Ashley Farms, which can be bought for $172,000. Hillside Ranch, which can be bought for $308,000. And Fair Oaks, which can be bought for $319,000. Every bit of land can be purchased on this map. If you wanted to buy and own Rushville, for example, $471 will let you do that. How about Hay Springs? Well, you can buy that for $508,000. We have the biogas plant, which can be purchased right here. We will have to take a look at that here. At that, once we get around to the drive around, there are also multiple production areas scattered around the map. We can buy the typical unbuyable areas, which includes the main road, part of the town, some production areas, and such for $295,000. Another section of unbuyable land you can buy down here for $441,000 also. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. And this screen is going to show you all of the purchasable farm lands, what fields they may be associated with, if they are associated with fields. But more specifically, we are looking at the size of the farmland and the amount of money that is going to cost us. In new farmer mode, we start out by owning farmland 27, 28, and 29. It is 15 acres or 15 hectares, 32 and 30 hectares respectively. Includes fields 8 and 9 and will provide you a cost of $304,000 for the main farm, $646 and $605, which we've already mentioned. Now I'm going to go ahead and slowly scroll through here and let you see all of the other viable farmlands, the sizes, which fields they are associated with, and how much money they are going to cost. If you are interested in looking at any of this, then you may want to pause the video when you get to the field that you're most interested in or the farmland that you are most interested in looking at. But overall, you can see that most of the farmlands are going to cost you somewhere between $200,000 and $500,000, with a few outliers being over a million and a few outliers also being under $200,000. We move on to our field calculator screen. We use this screen to quickly demonstrate and show how big each individual field is and to give you a little bit of an idea as to how much product you're going to need to put down on that particular field if you're going to lime, fertilize it, use herbicide, manure, slurry, or you can also go here and see how much seed you may need for any one given field. As I did earlier, if you wish to pause during any portion of this segment, go ahead and do that. So that way you can kind of see how big a particular field that you may be interested in is going to be as far as size in hectares. This map does include a custom crop calendar, as the description said. In fact, you can see that our wheat is extended into October and November for planting. And if you look here, we can double crop because we could get our wheat or barley off the fields in June or July and then put down soybeans in June or July and then harvest those sometimes between October, November, December, and January. We're going to be also able to harvest our corn potentially as early as October and as late as, get this, February. We could be harvesting our corn in the middle of a snowstorm. You can go ahead and pause on any of this if you want to take a closer look at when you can plant or harvest any of the crops on this particular map. If we take a look at our prices screen, you're going to see that this map includes a lot of sell points. As the description said, 22 different sell points are available on this map, and there is going to be a whole lot of price competitiveness going on because every single product that we can grow is going to have a multitude of potential sell points, as well as the animal outputs. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Eggs, the sell points scroll off the list. That is how many there are available. Wool, we have 5 available sell points. Milk, we have a large scrolling list also. And if we come down here to our production areas, you're going to see that we also have a huge amount of competitiveness with respect to where we can sell our production points. In fact, the least number of sell points that we're going to be able to sell things at is going to be 5. Clothing and furniture have just 5 sell points a piece as to where you could possibly sell those products. So that is really awesome to see that if you play this map up on a multiplayer server, you wouldn't have the risk of someone hoarding product and then going and dumping it at the one sell point that accepts that product and then basically ruin your chances at getting a decent price, because that's no ways possible going to happen here because there's just so many possible sell points for so many of the different products. We do have the ability to buy bulk lime, herbicide, and we do have a stone crusher available on the map. Now we're going to take a look at some of the custom production fill types. We have dry corn, we have whiskey, soy milk, oatmeal, pasta, chips, beer, and wine. Also ethanol, anhydrous is a viable, and propane looks like you possibly could make a little bit of money here by buying and selling propane on the open market. Now, as far as starting equipment in new farmer mode, we start out with a fair bit of Case IH machinery. All of it is owned, none of it is leased, well maintained. We do have 3 animal areas at the main farm. None of them have animals in them. Map does have contracts available to us, and we do not start by owning any production items. Whew, let's go ahead and take a look at our starting equipment. As far as small tractors go, we have the Magnum CVX 145. Then we have the Steiger wheeled 602 large tractor, and that is also paired up with the Magnum 400 power drive large tractor. We have the Mac Superliner 6x4 semi, the Case Axle Flow 9250 harvester. Harvester is then paired up with the 3162 Terra Flex Draper 45-foot grain header and the Case IH 4418 in corn header. The corn header is then going to make use of the Nardi N 7040 header trailer. We have the 1986 pickup truck. We have the Load King Distinction triple hopper semi trailer, the Demco 2200 dual auger grain cart. We have the Limpkin Solitar 12 seeder and the Kinsey 4905 blue drive planter, the Hardy Mega 1200L sprayer, the Kuverlin 4140L side mower, and then the ABI Attachment 1600 water trailer. That is going to conclude out our starting equipment. And while we are at the shop, let's go ahead and take a look at the trailers pack by DJ Modding. Again, this is linked on the same page as DJ Modding's itch.io page, where you download the map, and there will be a link in the description below to download this trailer pack. This trailer pack has been modified to accept anhydrous as well as propane, as well as various other fill types that are included on the map. So we have the Joskin Aquatrans 7300S by DJ. It will accept anhydrous and propane, as well as silage additive and any other liquid here on the map. Then we have the Flegel ASW 271 by DJ, which is basically set up to haul bulk product, including dried corn and various other products that are available on the map. We have the Big Body 750S by DJ. Again, it is set up to haul dried corn, lime, pig food, mineral feed, grapes, and other fill types. Load King Distinction Super B by DJ Modding. Then we have the Load King Super B pull trailer by DJ Modding. The Distinction Super B lead trailer by DJ Modding. And then with the Distinction Super Hopper trailer by DJ Modding. And this is not owned at the start. So one thing you may want to do is sell the Distinction Triple Hopper that is in the base game starting equipment for this map and buy this particular trailer instead. That way it's set up for all of the fill types, including dried corn. Then we have the FarmTech Fortis 3000 by DJ, the Lizard MKS 8 by DJ, the MKS 32 by DJ, the Pace Setter by DJ, the Radium 2255 by DJ. Again, all of these are set up to hold custom fill types, including dried corn and grapes, amongst various other fill types. And it just continues because of all of the trailers. And that is basically the trailers pack by DJ Modding, strongly suggested for this particular map. We also take a look here at the Green Valley Nebraska 4X under mods and DLCs. You'll see we can also buy a IBC tote of anhydrous for $800 for 2,000 liters, or we can buy 2,000 liters of propane in an IBC tote. While this may not be overly realistic, we do have the ability to buy in smaller quantities versus having to go and buy it in bulk. Now with that, I'm going to go ahead and just quickly tab over to our Steiger, and we're going to take a little tour of the main farm. So the main farm is the Green Valley Ranch. That is where we are right now. I'm going to run over here to kind of the entry point of the ranch, which is going to be the farmhouse. Now the farmhouse does not have a sleep trigger. You can go ahead and put any sleep trigger you want down here on the Green Valley Ranch, or any of the other farmhouses that may be on one of the other 3 farms here on this map. Now, with respect to, are the farms customizable? For the most part, they are not. And that is where this map is going to lose the bulk of its points, in the fact that this map does not have customizable farms. Everything you see here is permanently embedded on the map. A few minor things you can get rid of. You can get rid of some of the animal triggers, but the barns are still going to remain. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at the build mode. You're going to see that all of these wonderful custom sheds, barns, animal areas, none of them are going to be available for placing. All we have are the base game buildings, silos, extensions, containers, tools, and farmhouses. We take a look at the production. While we do have a fair bit of custom production on the map, we cannot put any of that down as far as extra placeables go. Greenhouses, orchards, generators, all of it is base game stuff. Animal areas, you're going to see as we go around the map, there are a ton of really cool custom animal areas, but none of those are going to be available for us to place. Decorative bits are all still base game stuff. Lights are all base game, as well as the others section. Now, if we take a look at our painting, we do have quite a list of paint textures that we can put down. In fact, I think this is pretty much all of the base game textures across all three of those maps. So let's go ahead and put those down. We have animal mud, asphalt, then we have another asphalt, we have cobblestones, flagstones, dirt, forest ground, another forest ground, we have grass, different grass, third grass, fourth grass, then we have gravel, which we have already seen. We have a different gravel. We have a third gravel option, a fourth gravel option, a fifth gravel option, a sixth gravel option. Then we come back to animal mud, asphalt, more gravel, more asphalt, rock, granite, and sand. So let's kind of quickly walk through all of these. So we have animal mud. Then we have various asphalts to look at. Our cobblestones, flagstones. Then we have a dirt. Then we have forest ground. Another forest ground. Then we move on to the various grass ground textures. Lots of texture options available here. Then we have our various stones, stone textures. Some more animal mud. Another dirt option. Gravel. Rock. Granite. And then our sand. So lots of custom textures. Now this particular silo is going to hold our lime, seed, and fertilizer. So we have our output pipe here. We have our dump pipe fill point located right there. Lots of custom sheds. Really is a shame that we cannot put more of these sheds down. It is a bit of a shame that we also cannot customize any of these farm areas. Maybe you want to slightly rearrange how these are set up. We're pretty much stuck with how they are. Now, the farms aren't bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just, it would be nice to have that customization capability. So over here we have a large pasture area. If we go inside here, we do have our animal trigger. This is going to be for 500 pigs. We have our water trailer. So we have our slurry pit. We have our food trough. And then we have this massive, massive grass area for the pigs. I like how we have these walking paths in the ground. Really nice details. We're going to find really great details all over the place on all of these farms. We do have a fuel trigger located right here. More of our machinery. And then directly in front of us, we have one of the harvestore fermenting silos. I'm going to go ahead and buy the large fermenting silo here. And we'll take a look and see what it holds as far as production goes. So grass and chaff as inputs, silage as outputs. We have 150 grass to 140 silage, 3,000 cycles per month, or 150 chaff and 145 silage, again 3,000 cycles per month. Now this harvestore silo will also store, as I said, it will also store straw, forage, TMR, and a few other fill types, as well as being a production point. We have our corn dryer located right here. Let's go ahead and buy that for $30,000. And then we'll take a look at our production. Our corn dryer will take corn and propane and convert that to dried corn. So 150 corn and 30 units of propane is going to make 130 units of dried corn at 3,720 cycles per month. And this is also a silo complex that is going to accept all of our standard base game grain crops. So our wheat, barley, oat, canola, soybeans, sunflowers, and regular corn can be stored in here also. Here we have a wonderful bale barn. We could put bales in here or store anything else we should so wish. One of our two cow barns are located right here. This is kind of the old school cow barn, the bank barn, if you will. We have the upper part of the barn is for storage. We have our animal chute right here. 500 cows are going to be able to be stored in this particular facility. We have our milk trigger. Down there you can see our food trough. Then we have our slurry output for this particular cow area. And then we have kind of a more open cow barn located right beside it. Again, additionally, 500 cows in that particular area. And their food trough and straw trigger is going to be located inside of here. We have the slurry pit located right there. And then the milk trigger is going to be located in this shed right beside the barn. So there is our milk trigger for that cow area. Then we have one more large shed. This is where we started our farm tour at, located right there. We have our pickup truck, and then we have our wardrobe trigger right here. Look at all that. Nice, cool little areas. And that is the main farm. Now, something else to note. Those 3 bins right down that way, they are tied to this particular piece of property. And we are going to be able to use them to store grain once we use up our main silo, or if you should prefer to use these as opposed to those. These Brock bins are going to require us to use an auger to fill from the top center of the bins. And then we can bring in a smaller auger and empty the bins by placing the auger underneath these output pipes. But at this point, these types of bins really shouldn't be that foreign to Farm Sim 22 players. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and get set up for the fly around. We're going to fly around the map. We're going to kind of do a quick cursory look at the other 3 possible player farms on the map. And then when we get back to the shop, we're going to grab a Mahindra, drive around to all of the other production points, buy each of them in turn, and take a look and see what they produce, what they take as far as inputs, and what the production speed looks like, as well as do a complete tour of the other 3 farms. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of altitude here, and well, you can get a nice sense of scale of this map. Way off in the distance. I can barely see the edge of the map at this point. Let's go ahead and make a big PDA nice and big. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of a spin. This map is not flat by any stretch of the imagination. It's not super hilly either. It has some nice rolling fields, but it is not super flat. I know there's kind of 2 schools of thought with respect to Nebraska. Some school of thought is Nebraska is mostly flat. Other school of thought is that Nebraska is not flat. And Nebraska's a big place. So it depends on where you are as to how flat a particular area may or may not actually be. But let's take a look from above. We have the farm, or start farm here. You can see those walking paths around the various areas. So the 500 pigs are going to be encased in this big fenced area. And then the 500 cows are going to have a large area to roam, as they can roam all the way down to the tree line. In fact, you can see our Holstein cow right down there. And they are tied then to the older style barn. And then we have the newer style barn, and their area to roam is going to be separated by this strip right here. And they're going to have this area here to roam in. So this map has a lot of real estate to work with, and I think it makes use of the real estate quite well with respect to these custom animal areas. We're going to go ahead and make our way down to the southern part of the map. We're going to fly over the river, which is one of the most distinctive visual aspects of this map. The river and the massive bridge that spans the river and basically splits the map in half. I have to say, the bridge and coming up out of the river bottom has got to be one of my most favorite scenic parts of this map. We're making our way down here to the southwest corner. This is where we're going to find the sawmill as well as our carpentry shop. Get a little bit lower because I think the altitude we were at probably doesn't really play to see how the terrain changes. Once you get up to a certain point, you really can't notice the terrain elevation changes. So the carpentry facility is directly below there. It is a base game carpentry facility. I don't think we really need to go into too much details on it. Here we have a sawmill. So we have our wood chip point, we have our log sell point, log sell trigger. We have our interactive icon for the sawmill, and then our pallet spawn point. We have a decent little forest area over here to accompany the sawmill. We have our base game carpentry, so we have our interactive icon there on the side. We have our pallet spawn point, and then we have our log cell trigger in our dump station, located right there to the side. Here we have Loves, one of our fueling stations here on the map. This is also a buy point. We have a road going under the bridge, and then up to the woods, and then ultimately to the edge of the map. And then this is going to be Ashley Farm. This is one of the other 3 possible player farms on the map. We have the farmhouse down here at the street, our corn dryer / farm silo located directly below. We have a cow area to the left, as well as a cow area to the right on this farm. And then we have a couple machine sheds here in the middle. Now, the way this has been set up, we've got the road, and the road you can see is at a lower level than either field on either side of the road. There's kind of a hillside that is forested. We have field 30 on the left and field 29 on the right. Go ahead and get a little bit of speed. Coming up to another one of our fuel points here on the map. This is also going to be a sell point. And this is another branded area. This is Conoco. You see the dump station located right there. Now we're going to circle back to this area, but I have to say I really like the switchbacks that we see climbing up the hill here to get to our ethanol plant. That is our ethanol plant. One of the 2 towns is located here in the southeast corner of the map. The other town is located in the northeast. And there is a fair bit of production and sell points at both maps. We're just going to kind of cursory fly over these at this point, and we'll have a much closer look at each town area when we get to the drive around section. Nice little kind of little lake area here, a little campground, decorative area going around the lake. Make our way over to a grain sell point. And this is Cargill. Now we're making our way over to Hillside Farm. This is another one of the 3 other playable farms on the map. So we have our farmhouse directly below here. We have our corn dryer silo system. We have our harvestore. And then we have 2 animal areas. We have I believe these are both cow areas. We're going to take a closer look at those again when we get around to the drive around. These are going to be areas that we are going to have to buy. In fact, let's go ahead and buy those right now. So Green Valley Ranch, let's go ahead and buy Ashley Farms, which is $172,000. We'll buy Hillside Ranch, which is $308,000. And we'll buy Fair Oaks, which is $319,000. You can see once we buy the farmlands, all the triggers will pop up. So we have 3 more silos over here. Again, these are going to be used for grain, and you're going to have to use an auger to fill and pull grain out of those. Field 28 is 110 acres in size. That is the field that we are flying over right now. Now we are making our way over to the chip factory, as well as the brewery, the whiskey distillery, and the ethanol plant. So here we have Providence Grain, a sell point. We have Clutch Special Brown, that is the whiskey distillery, and Yingling, which is the brewery. We'll take closer looks at those, like I said, during the drive around. Then we have United Ethanol. This is our ethanol plant. And we're going to be bringing our dried corn and our regular corn here to the ethanol plant in order to produce ethanol. And like I said, the switchbacks coming up to that particular area is a favorite of mine. The switchbacks coming up from the river on this side is also a big favorite of mine. And then we have a nice little kind of scenic overlook. Nice little detail, nice little touch here on the map, a little bit of a scenic overlook. Overlooking this massive, distinctive bridge. This huge bridge that spans the river and the river flat area. A very distinctive architectural aspect of this map is this particular bridge. Now, coming over here, I was a little bit confused as to where the potato chip factory is, but it is over here. So we have a oil mill. We have a grain sell point right here in Thompson Vac. Then we have our Lay's potato chip facility. And then we have a custom grain mill located right here. The starting farm is located right over there. So we are going to kind of traverse this direction. Now there's a couple of interesting areas. This whole area here is kind of interesting. It's set up as kind of a park, if you will. There are visitor centers on either side of this strip, and then this walking path. We've got an old barn. We've got some observation towers. We've got a sell point here in the farmer's market. Then at Tractor Supply, we have the ability to buy bulk seed, fertilizer, and lime from within this building. And then we also have the ability to buy anhydrous and propane right there. And then Tractor Supply is also a sell point. And we'll make our way over to the third and final farm area that you could play on the map. We'll make our way up to the town, which is in the northeast corner. Another little bit of a kind of a park area. Got a gazebo, a couple other kind of cabin areas, all leading over to this observation tower. Our BGA is right here down at kind of the river's edge. And then just up from the BGA, we have the other playable farm. And we're going to take a closer look at that farm here in a little bit. And here we have the double digester BGA. Now, what I've been told is the names of these two towns are realistic names to real towns that are in this particular area of Nebraska. And as you can tell from all of the icon dots on the minimap, this area is also very heavily populated with sell points and production areas. So down below we have a grain sell point in ConAgra Mills. We have Buddy's feed or Rudy's feed store. A little bit of a residential area, and then we get into some businesses and production areas. As far as another grain sell point, we have then Patterson Grain. We have our sugar mill. One of the two firehouses that was described in the description, and then Casey's General Store, which is another grain sell point and a buy point for various products that we're going to produce. We have another farmer's market located right there. Our animal dealer is coming up, but not without first taking a look at a small regional Walmart, which is going to be a sell point for lots of products. Our animal dealer. And then we will make our way quickly back over to the vehicle shop. Field 3 is a nice 151 acres in size. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of altitude and again, kind of just look across the map. We can see just off in the distance where the bridge is and then where the train rises up from the river bottom. At least that's what I'm kind of calling the flat there, where the river is located, the river floodplain, if you will. Then we have our Case dealership. Now, something to be noted with respect to the Case dealership, these large grass rectangles, that is where your machinery is going to spawn in at. And boy, can you spawn in a ton of machinery. So here at the dealership, we have our customized sell, repair, and trade trigger right there. That is clearly marked with trigger markers. And then we have our shop trigger located inside. Let's go ahead and get our Mahindra. And we have a really nice shop decorated out with nice small goods. Plenty of large areas. We've got big showroom doors that open up. Like I said, this whole area over here to the side, its sole purpose in life is to be an area for you to spawn machinery in. When I was doing a preview look of the map, I think we spawned in, I don't know, maybe 12 or 13 large harvesters in this area before we ran out of spawn room. So there is plenty of room to spawn in vehicles and such. I believe this is going to be a fuel point to refuel your vehicles. Let's go ahead and make our way over here to the town. And then I think we're just going to kind of go clockwise around the map at this point during our drive around. Do a little in-cab driving while we are at it. So up on the hill we have our case dealer. And let's talk about production. So I don't think we've run through all the production that's available on the map, so let's do that now. There are 24 built-in production areas on this map. We have the biogas plant, sawmill, bakery, carpentry, cereal, dairy, oil, winery, spinnery. We have a grain mill. We have a tailor, sugar mill. We have a beer facility, chips, ethanol. We have a whiskey distillery. There are 4 different grain dryers. There are 2 large fermenting silos and 2 small fermenting silos, all pre-placed on the map. So with respect to, does the map have built-in production or areas set aside for such? Yes, indeed, this map does definitely have built-in production. So the map is going to get a full point on that scoring criteria. The map includes a custom crop calendar, as well as the ability to sell all of our base game crops, products, and animal outputs, in addition to including the ability to sell all over the place multiple new production field types. So the map is also going to get a full point with that regard. Now, as we are coming up to the town, we'll kind of put a little bit of a hiatus on our scoring commentary and start talking about the various sell points and other such things. So here we have the animal dealer, our animal trigger, located right there. We have a small regional Walmart located right next to the animal dealer. And the dump station for Walmart is going to be around back. So we have our dump station here at the receiving gate, receiving dock. DJ Modding loves his billboards. So we have billboards all over the place. Here we have Johnson's Farmers Market, which is a sell point. And its dump station is around back. Right next door to that, we have Casey's. Casey's is going to be where we can buy fuel as well as sell products. Now, Casey's is kind of an interesting area because it's not just a sell point, it's not just a fuel point. We can actually go inside of here and kind of explore the station, if you will. Nice to see these decorative elements and other things. City of Rushville, Nebraska. Now, as far as the town goes, there is a whole lot going on here. I'm going to hopefully try to cover all of it, or as much of it as possible. We have the fire department of Rushville. Looks like all of the fire engines are out at the moment, but they are a nice friendly area and they'll let you come on in. Got all the fire machinery or fire clothing there. We've got a little laundry area, place for them to sit down and check out what's going on. A dispatch, emergency operations center. So you could definitely have fun doing a little bit of role play there. We have the sugar mill, which is pretty much the base game sugar mill. Nothing really special going on there. Patterson's grain. dump station located right there. Now let's get on this side of the street. With our Wendy's, we have a nice auto dealership located right there. Mi Familia is a Mexican restaurant that is a sell point. Then we have our local neighborhood Applebee's, which is also set up as a sell point. Coming around back, and there we have our dump station for Applebee's. Now we'll come down a block. We have a fair bit of action going on here. We got maybe a courthouse, school district. We have our bakery. And let's go ahead and stop and once again take a look at our custom fill types that are under the prices screen. So we have dry corn, whiskey, soy milk, oatmeal, pasta, chips, beer, wine, ethanol, anhydrous, and propane. So I want to go ahead and buy the bakery. I can't remember from the preview if the bakery makes any of those new fill types or not. Let's go ahead and now take a look at our production. And you'll see that the bakery does indeed allow you to now make pasta. In order to make pasta, you need 3 flour, 2 water, and an egg. And you're going to get 3 pasta out of that. And that is going to produce 2,160 cycles per month. I know we did take a look at all of the production pallets in our preview video. And all of the new fill types have really nice looking pallets that spawn when you do that. So Dutchman's Dairy, we have our milk dump station, we have our interactive icon. Let's go ahead and buy that for $70,000. Then we have our pallet spawn point, and the Dutchman the Dutchman Dairy has the ability now to make soy milk. So 3 units of soybeans, 2 units of water, and 1 unit of sugar is going to make 3 units of soy milk, and we're going to be able to do 2,400 cycles per month here at our dairy facility. We'll go down 1 more block. We have our bowling alley. Bowling is quite popular here in Nebraska, if you did not know that. And then we have our next production area. We have Dunkin' Donuts, which is going to be a sell point. We have a bank. Let me just check here. I feel like I might have missed something. Rushville Pizza, the bakery, strip mall, the bowling alley, Dunkin' Donuts. Okay, so we do have some more sell points that we missed on the other side of this kind of strip mall area. So we have the pizza facility and the bakery. We have the Rushville strip mall behind this set of buildings. The bowling alley on the back end. we have the dump station for them. Then we have Rudy's Feed Store. Rudy's Feed Store is going to allow you to sell silage, hay, straw, and grass. Then Con Agri Mills is going to be the last point of interest on this town. So now we need to double back and we'll head down to the second possible player barn or farm that we're going to take a look at. So one way you know that this map is a 4X map is just the time that it takes to traverse the map. The other way that we can tell is if you look at the coordinates down in the mini-map, you'll see that we are at 3670 by 850 and climbing. So a standard map, the furthest point to the southeast is going to be 2048 by 2048. A 4X map, furthest point to the southeast is going to be 4096 by 4096. Here we are coming up to one of those player farms. We have one of our machine sheds located right here. We have a fuel point. Another machine shed around back. Third machine shed located right here. Our grain dryer. We don't need to buy this grain dryer. They all operate the same way. So we are a dump station and our fill pipe located right here. But I guess I do want to demonstrate the other fill types that are available here. So let's go ahead and buy that. And now you'll see that we have the ability to store wheat, barley, oat, canola, sorghum, sunflower, soybeans, and corn in this particular grain dryer, as well as the ability to produce dried corn. Remember, we need to bring propane and regular corn to the corn dryer in order to start the production of dried corn. We have our farmhouse ready for us to place our sleep trigger. We have one of our animal areas here on this farm, located inside, and this is going to be for 500 pigs. Go ahead and get our pig. We have our food trough around the back. Then our slurry point is going to be around the side here. The straw trigger is going to be also inside the barn there. Then down the hill we have our fermenting silo, and then we have our cow area. So let's go ahead and buy the fermenting silo, and once again we'll also demonstrate how you can store other things here other than just what is produced. So remember, the fermenting silo will take chaff and grass or hay. Sorry, it'll make chaff and hay and convert it into silage. So we have grass and chaff into silage. But we can also store hay, forage, silage, total mixed rations, and straw in this particular silo. We have our cow buy point right here, 500 cows in this particular facility. Once again, we have our straw and feed trough. We have our slurry point located over there. And then our milk is going to be in this building beside the cow barn. Now, with respect to the farms being customizable, as I said earlier, all of these buildings and all of these farms are permanent. If you wish to make changes to how the farms are laid out, regretfully, you're going to have to be using Giant's editor to do that, because even if you own the land, you're not going to be able to get rid of the buildings. Some of the animal triggers you can sell, but the buildings themselves are going to remain. So the map is going to lose the bulk of its points with respect to the farms not being customizable. I'm going to give the map just a quarter of a point for that regard, because there are a few minor things that we can sell on the main farm, but not a whole lot. So here we have our dump station for our slurry. We have our two digesters. We have our buy icon there. We have two large three-sided silage bunkers. And then we have our pickup point for our digestate. This is basically the BGA that is over on Elm Creek. We also have a methane pump and an electric charging station down here at the BGA that you can make use of. Now we're going to go over the Niobrara River. Down here to the east, you see the big prominent bridge off in the distance. Let's make our way over to the next possible player farm that we're going to take a look at. Is located right here. So we have our farmhouse, again, ready for any sleep trigger that you should so wish to put down. We have our corn dryer slash silo. We have our fermenting silos in the big harvestores. The machine sheds are fuel trigger. Then we have a couple animal areas. So we have our first cow barn, 500 cows in this particular facility. We have our slurry point over here to the side. Our milk trigger is going to be on this side, right here. And then our food trough is going to be around back, right there. And these cows have this huge area to roam all the way down to the tree lines. In fact, you can see our Angus cow way off in the distance, right there at the corner of the PDA. And then we have a secondary cow area located right here. We have our animal chute. Again, 500 cows. This particular barn, we have a upper storage area so we can store things in here, bales, machinery, whatsoever. We have our slurry point We have our milk trigger. And then we have our food trough located right here. And again, they are tied to this large area so they can roam all over the place. It's a total of 1,000 cows in this particular farm. Now, let's make our way over to the second town on the map. That's where we're going to find the bulk of the other sell points and production. 3 more of those grain silos. This is the town of Hay Springs. We'll go over this kind of reservoir area. To get to ConAgra. Oh, sorry, Cargill. Get to Cargill. Then we have our selling point. And I'm going to come around the back of the town by taking my way through this little state park. It's just going to wrap around the reservoir here. Some campground, some nice pavilions, a little playground area. Really nice decorative elements on the map. You know, the map isn't all about just farming and agriculture. There are some kind of lived-in areas to make it feel like this is a relatively real place. Some tents set up, some campers. Bit of a playground at the park entrance. Another bowling alley. Like I said, these Nebraskans, they love to bowl. And with the bowling alley comes a sell point. So we have our dump station right there. Then we have a ballpark over here for the Redford Wolves. We have another feed store down here in Payson. Feed and pet. So we have another silage, hay, straw, and grass sell point. Residential areas. We have our spinnery. See, it's just a base game spinnery. Bank of America. Around the back, we have a sell point. Another sell point behind this particular strip mall, just like we had in the northern town. BP fuel station, which is also a sell point. We have our cereal factory. Then here is our grape processing facility / winery. Let's go ahead and buy this one for $80,000. And then we're going to see our winery. Going to be able to make wine. We need 5 units of grape, 3 units of water, 1 unit of sugar, and they're going to make 5 units of wine. And we have 1,296 cycles per month. We have our custom tailor in black sheep. So there we have our spinnery. So the spinnery must be the tailor. Interesting enough. Indeed, the spinnery is our tailor. I have to say, the Erlengrad Church sure does seem to get around in FS22. We have our second fire station. A laundromat. Another city hall. We have McDonald's, which is a buy point. Then we have Dollar General. Which is a buy point. And a Tim Hortons. That's right, we have a Tim Hortons here on the map. And it is also a buy point. Now let's make our way up to the fabled switchbacks that I have talked so much about. And for that, let's go into cab view. Take a look at field 39 over there. You can see it's one of the smaller fields on the map, but it is still massive. Field 38. Rolling hills along the road and tree line. And the land kind of goes up on either side of the road here. We have our Konoko fuel station and buy point. Down the street we have our spinnery, but our sawmill and our carpentry. We're going to take a look at that toward the end of the video. First, let's wind our way up the hill to the ethanol plant. Really love these switchbacks. Really like them a lot. So with respect to buildings using the new texture technique and the ground textures, we have a ton of ground textures on this particular map. And we have a lot of buildings on this map. And I would say maybe about 50-50 of those buildings are using the new texture technique. So I'm going to give the map a half a point with respect to that scoring metric. So here we are at our ethanol plant. We have our spawn point for our ethanol pallets located right there. We have our dump station for the ethanol plant located directly in front of us. And then our interactive trigger is here at the office. So we're going to buy the ethanol plant for $110,000. And the ethanol plant is going to take 4 units of dried corn, 1 unit of sorghum, 1 unit of propane, and 1 unit of regular corn to make 5 units of ethanol. And it's going to have 2,160 cycles per month. Then across the street from the ethanol plant, we have a grain sell point, as well as 2 production areas. We have Providence Grain. So we have a sell point located right there. And then we have our brewing facility and our whiskey facility right side by side. So $110,000 to buy our brewery. And $110,000 to buy our whiskey plant. So we have our dump station for our brewery. Then our pallets are going to spawn under the awning here. Then we have our pallet spawn point for our whiskey area. And then the dump station for the whiskey is around back. Also, let's go ahead and take a look at the production for them. So the beer facility is going to take barley and water, 3 units of barley, 2 units of water to make 2 units of beer, 2,160 cycles again per month. And then whiskey is 4 units of corn, 1 unit of barley, 2 units of water for 4 units of whiskey. Again, 2,160 cycles per month. Now, I'm going to then take these switchbacks down over to the riverside. We're going to go across the river and check out our bulk buy point area for propane, anhydrous, as well as seed, lime, and fertilizer. This is an interesting little detail. As best I can tell, this is for the rock climbers among you, those that are interested in rock climbing, maybe have fun on that area. But we're going to take the more traditional route down to the bridge area. Once again, over the bridge, or over the river. This time over a large portion of the river flat. Very predominant area of the map is the river. Another farmer's market located right here. As you can see, the map is nothing short of sell points. We have our stone crusher. And then inside of here, we have our bulk fill area is going to be for total mixed ration, solid fertilizer, mineral feed, seed, lime. Then we have a bulk 5 point here for liquid fertilizer, for herbicide, we have our bulk point for propane, and then a bulk area for anhydrous right there. Now, to get across to the production areas that are over by field 37, we're going to have to go down and under the bridge. In order to do that, we need to take the road between fields 10 and 11, which is right here. That is going to take us down to the river bottom. Now, slowly making our way down. This is one of those kind of park areas I was mentioning. If we take this walking path, it's going to eventually wind us over to the large observation tower. We should be able to see that once we clear the tree line. There's the large observation tower that walking path would eventually lead us down to. Are pedestrians kind of walking their way to and fro over there. Now we can make our way underneath this massive bridge. That is where we were, over there on the hill. I think DJ Monty did a great job with the land on this clicker map, and how everything just flows. A third park area is coming up over here to the right, and this is going to extend all the way from here up to the road that is just between fields 2 and 3 to the north. We've got another observation tower that is a part of that area. Over here we have another grain sell point. We have Lay's potato chips. So we got our station 4 Lay's potato chips. We have our interactive icon, $110,000. And then we have our pallet spawn point for the chip producer. Lay's potato chips is going to take 3 potatoes and canola oil. It's going to make 2 units of chips. 2,160 units per hour, or per day, sorry. No, per month. Right next to Lay's potato chips, we have the oil plant, which is where we're going to make our canola oil. So we have our dump station, we have our interactive icon, and then we have our pallet spawn point. Across the street, we have a massive custom flour mill. In Nebraska wheat. $96,000 to buy that production facility. And they are going to make wheat flour, barley flour, oat flour, and sorghum flour. So we have our grain at dump point. Then we have our pallet spawn point, and this particular facility has this huge kind of warehouse also associated with it. You can use this to store machinery, vehicles, and such. Now we have just a few more points of interest to take a look at here. We have Ashley's farm, which is the last player farm on the map. And then a few production areas down in the southwest corner. So we're going to traverse the river one more time. As far as getting around the map with large machinery, while we do have some poles right at the road edge, we have a fairly wide road here, and everything else is fairly far away from the road, so we shouldn't have too much issue driving down the road with wide machinery. We may have to turn traffic off depending on which road you take, but overall that should not be too big of an issue. Some of these 90-degree turns might be a little problematic for some of the wider and longer pieces of machinery. I'm thinking the new Bergolt seeders and air carts that recently got released over the Giant Spot Hub. Or maybe large road trains of trailers. So here we are at Ashley's farm. And a farmhouse where we can position a sleep trigger if we wanted to. We have a fermenting silo. Then we have the cow area, so we have our milk. We have our animal buy point, 500 cows for this particular area. We have our food trough and our straw trigger. We have our fermenting, or sorry, not our fermenting, our dryer, our corn dryer that is also a grain silo. Then we have a second cow area that is going to allow us to have an additional 500 cows. So this farm will also allow us to keep 1,000 cows. We have our food and our straw dump station. Then we have our milk trigger. We have our slurry. We have a few machine sheds also down here. We have our fuel tank. There we can see our slurry point for that animal area. Now, with respect to trigger markers being clearly placed on the map, there are some areas that we have noticed in our drive around that do not use the kind of the blue floating icons, and there are some areas that I think that we have seen that do not have the yellow and black hash areas. So we will have to take some points off with respect to the player interactive trigger areas being clearly marked. But overall, I feel that they are fairly obvious of where they are located. So here we have Love's, another fuel station, and Sell Point. We have our carpentry facility. So we have our dump station, our log cell trigger. our interactive trigger and our pallet spawn point. So we're going to give the map 3/4 of a point with respect to having the trigger areas clearly marked. The grain sell points really are kind of, I guess, the biggest culprit with respect to the floating blue icons. So overall, I'm going to give the map a 3.5 out of 5. Now, I think the map visually is stunning. This is probably, without a doubt, to this point, one of the most beautiful American maps that we have seen. You could argue that some other maps, like the Wyoming map, is better visually, better gameplay. It's all fine and dandy. We could argue until the cows come home as to which is the best American map. I'm not saying that this one is the best. I'm saying this one is right up there with the best. So it's one of the best visually and gameplay wise. It is falling short in a few key areas according to our scoring metric, and it has lost the most points with respect to farms not being customizable. And that is really the biggest area that it has lost points on. Let me know, guys, what you think down below in the comments of Green Valley, Nebraska, a 4X map. It is again available over at DJ Modding's itch.io page. There will be a link down in the description below to both the map page and also to download his trailer pack, which is going to be useful on this map because of the additional anhydrous and propane fill types, as well as the dried corn and some of the other production items that are available on the map. And until next time, happy farming.